Torches hiss in the rain-soaked courtyard as a battered wooden gate swings shut behind a young woman named Elsbeth. She clutches her swollen belly, eyes wide, knowing the life inside her is no blessing but a ledger entry, another body owed to the Lord of Travenwald Keep. Before we unravel how medieval masters turned reproduction into cold arithmetic, breathe in this moment. Hear the iron key turning, feel the mud sucking at her shoes, taste the fear rising in her throat. If you dare journey deeper into the shadows of feudal power, smash that subscribe button right now, ring the bell so you never miss a whisper from history's darker corridors, and drop a comment. What's the most chilling abuse of power you've ever heard of? Your thoughts might just appear in our next episode. Scene shift, dawn over endless wheat fields. A hooded monk quills numbers onto parchment. Births, deaths, fines collected from serfs who begged permission to wed. This isn't an abbey ledger, it's a breeding register. Between the 11th and 14th centuries, many European lords realized they could grow labor the way they grew grain, by planting pairs of human beings and harvesting their children. The practice wore different masks across Christendom and the Islamic Mediterranean, yet threads of control, coercion, and commerce bound them all. Cut to dramatic reenactment. In a smoky great hall, Lord Rienhart rests his jeweled hand on a carved walnut table. 6 able bodies lost to plague this winter. His steward murmurs, "We must replenish." Rienhart's gaze slides to a line of captive Slavic thralls, spoils from a border raid. He points at 2 teenagers. They share a pen tonight. Put their names in the register. A hush spreads. Even the steward flinches. But profit speaks louder than pity. Newborns cost nothing and can be sold at 15 silver deniers by their 5th year. Voiceover pans out. Contrary to later plantation systems, medieval Europe lacked a single codified slave breeding doctrine. Yet manorial law gave lords a chilling toolkit. In England, the Merciat fine forced unfree women to pay, or have someone pay, when they married outside the estate. Many couldn't, so they coupled under the lord's eye, ensuring all children stayed his property. In Catalonia's Marcia estates, the mals usos, or evil customs, let lords claim a peasant bride's first night, or more lucratively, her firstborn. And across the Islamic caliphates, legal distinctions between concubines and unwalad mothers became economic calculations. A child born to an enslaved woman might inherit freedom, unless the master chose to sell mother or baby before that moment arrived. Reenactment, Elsbeth again, now inside a candle-lit birthing hut. The midwife whispers psalms while the steward waits outside, quill poised. Hours later, a boy enters the world with a cry. The steward nods, jots 1 male, strong, and hands the midwife a hemp cord. In 2 days, Elsbeth's son will be taken to the wet nurse in the main keep. She will return to the fields within a week. Her husband, assigned to another barony 80 miles away after refusing extra tithes. Separation wasn't collateral damage, it was strategy. Couples apart can't form alliances or plot escapes. They can, however, be paired with new partners to double the output. Narrator leans closer. Feel the economic gears turning. A plough team needs 8 oxen or 12 men. Oxen cost feed year-round. Men can feed themselves from the common strip and bear children who will one day swing scythes. Documents from Oberwesel, circa 1292, show estate managers projecting labour births 5 seasons ahead, like accountants forecasting grain yield. One notation reads, "If Anna bear thrice more, the West Orchard may be cleared without hiring freemen, people reduced to procreation quotas." Mid-script cliffhanger time. Imagine a secret council chamber beneath a Venetian palazzo, where Crusader captains debate selling Christian captives to Muslim buyers, despite papal bans. One captain unrolls a map dotted with coastal slave marts from Dubrovnik to Alexandria. He taps Malta. Their emir pays triple for childbearing women. But then he unfurls a second scroll, an edict from Pope Innocent III, threatening excommunication. Will gold trump God? Stick around to discover which force truly ruled the medieval conscience. Comment below with your guess. Faith or fortune? Back in narrative flow, to justify these practices, lords leaned on warped theology, Augustine's stoic acceptance of slavery as a consequence of sin, and Aristotle's notion of natural slaves fused into a grim rationalization. If bondage is ordained, directing the bound to multiply is merely stewardship. Parish priests recorded baptisms while ignoring the missing fathers. Monastic chroniclers praised charitable lords who fed pregnant thralls extra pottage. never mind the investment value of prenatal nutrition. Yet resistance flickered. Court rolls from 1321 recount Maria of Montpellier presenting her infant at the manorial gate, declaring, "He is yours, nourish him." When the steward refused, local women shielded her, sparking a 3-day work stoppage until the Lord relented and granted a small plot. Her act spread tales of defiance, mothers demanding maintenance, fathers running to free towns, entire kin groups vanishing into forest outlaw bands. These stories seeped into ballads, sung in secret around hearths, turning oppression into cautionary legends for would-be tyrants. Dramatic reenactment. Night raid on the village of Brenzia. Torches flare against thatch roofs as mercenaries seize women of childbearing age. 12 are marched to iron cages aboard a river barge bound for the Black Sea. One slams her chains and shouts, "My womb is not your coin purse." The captain smirks. "Tonight it buys me a new mast." Cut to silence, water slapping hull planks. A chilling reminder that medieval slavery was a pan-Eurasian network, feeding Ottoman harems, Genoese galleys, and Persian textile mills. Each market valued fertile women at a premium, a grim reflection of global demand for future labor. Zoom out to macroeconomics. After the Black Death, 1347-1351 halved Europe's population, the value of every working body soared. Some regions granted serfs limited freedoms to keep them from fleeing, but others tightened reproductive screws. In Eastern Europe's second serfdom, lords imposed corvée days and birth taxes. Every newborn bound its mother to extra weeks in the manor dairy. In Moldavia, boyar contracts explicitly listed belly seed obligations, each woman to rear at least 3 children before age 30, or face corporal penalty. These clauses, preserved in Ottoman tax archives, reveal chilling precision, wombs as ledgers. Now, take a breath, viewers. If this deep dive shocks you, hit like so the algorithm knows these hidden histories matter. Share your reactions in the comments. Did you know medieval slave breeding was this systematic? Your voice helps expose untold truths. Reenactment. Florence, 1399. In a bustling piazza, the Silk Guild auctions 2 orphaned toddlers whose parents died of fever. A merchant inspects their teeth like livestock. Nearby, Dominican friar Girolamo strides forward, denouncing the sale. Crowd murmurs. The merchant retorts, "They will weave, they will marry among themselves, and their sons will weave after them." Florence thrives. The friar raises a crucifix. Gain that costs a soul damns a city. He's dragged away, but seeds of dissent sprout. By the mid-15th century, civic charities purchase pregnant captives to baptize and free their offspring, a faint moral countercurrent to centuries of commodified childbirth. Narrator reflection. While Europe debated sin and profit, West Africa's Sahelian kingdoms and the Arab world refined eunuch trade, neutralizing reproduction entirely for certain male captives, while doubling down on female fertility. In Mamluk Egypt, household registers distinguished between concubines for pleasure and those for lineage enhancement. The latter ate richer diets, received amulets to boost fecundity, and birthed children groomed for administrative posts. A sultan's dynasty could hinge on a single enslaved woman's womb. Meanwhile, her sisters, judged barren, were sold to grain mills, their strength spent turning grindstones until death. Flash forward to a storm-lit castle chapel. Elsbeth kneels at the altar, 20 years older, wrists gnarled from decades of loom work. 5 of her 7 children have been sold. She hasn't seen her husband since the steward's decree. Tonight, Lord Reinhardt's heir announces a new tithe. Grandchildren will owe double levy at birth. Elsbeth rises, eyes blazing. Lightning cracks stained glass. "You may tally my bloodline," she declares, "but you will never count my spirit." The chapel doors burst open. Villagers, freedmen from neighboring estates, even a rogue knight carrying a charter of liberties. Cliffhanger guitar sting. Will rebellion finally topple Travanwald's breeding regime? That, friends, is a tale for our next episode. Until then, subscribe to follow Elsbeth's revolt, ring that bell so you don't miss the uprising, and tell us in the comments. If you lived under Lord Reinhardt, would you flee into dangerous forests or stay and fight? Your answer could shape our interactive follow-up, where we dramatize a viewer-chosen escape plan. Share this video with a history buff who thinks medieval life was all chivalry. Let's pull back the velvet curtain together. Remember, the past isn't dead. It's not even past. It breathes through the stories we uncover and the questions we dare to ask. I'll see you in the next chapter, if the torches don't find us first.